you all for joining us. We're hoping to create a space for discussion around award-winning practices for teaching K-12 mathematics. We've invited some of our SLIFE winners, and I hope they're able to log in and join us in time. I know it gets a little tough with the time zone differences managing through that. But hopefully we'll have some of our SLIFE teachers join us and some of our additional teachers and professors and all things mathematics that we can kind of tackle in this discussion. Just going to do that for 1 second. It's a little easier for me to see what's happening. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, we've got some folks that have joined us. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We'll go ahead. Chuck, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then I will go back to this. Here we go. Okay, Chuck, I'll hand it over to you from here. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us for this discussion. My name is Chuck Garner, and I'm currently the chair of the SLIFE Award Committee, finishing my second 3-year term as chair of that award committee. What we hope to do in this discussion is just to share some of the wonderful practices that the SLIFE winners have displayed. That's why they are winners of the award, because they use the AMC and related materials in their teaching to motivate young people to do math. And to me, that's what the AMC is really all about, is to motivate young people to get interested in math and to solve problems they otherwise wouldn't solve in a classroom setting. So that's what we want to do. We want to start a discussion about wonderful things that happen in these classrooms and how they happen and how others can get started doing them. Let's see. Zach, can we go to the next slide?
So I did.
Oh.
It sounds like you don't see the next slide, though.
Oh, there we go. Now I do.
Okay.
Edith Mace Life was a high school mathematics teacher in California who left a sizable trust for the funding of this award. And part of the agreement was that this should go to, the original agreement was that this should go to high school math teachers who use the AMC, which at the time was called the ASHME, American High School Math Exam, in their teaching, and that high school teachers should be recognized for having students experience great success on this contest. And at least 20 high school teachers around the country should be awarded this every year. The MAA has expanded that with the introduction of the AMC 8, expanded that to middle schools and private schools, charter schools, and the trust still funds the award. This to me is a very unique award in the landscape, not only of the MAA awards, but the larger awards. First of all, it's so many, at least 20 teachers get recognized, 20 deserving teachers get recognized as a SLIFE award winner. But also, I think for a lot of these high school teachers, they go I hesitate to say unrecognized. That's not the right word, but they go unheralded as all the extra time and effort that goes into providing a classroom environment, either in a classroom or after school, where students can thrive mathematically using contests and competitions such as the AMC. I think this is a very unique award in a lot of respects, and I'm very happy to be chair of this award and see all the amazing recommendations for these wonderful teachers. The teachers, the award winners, get a $500 stipend, including recognition on the MAA website. They also receive free registration, housing, and travel expenses to the following year's MAA Math Fest. So next year it'll be in Washington, D.C. So this year's winners will get all these things paid for if they choose to attend Math Fest in Washington, D.C. That, I think, is a huge thing. I know as a high school teacher, the first time I went to Math Fest, it was an eye-opening experience, and I loved it immensely, particularly for that kind of I was going to say a kind of upper-level high school teacher, but really any high school teacher, I think, would benefit from a lot of the sessions at Math Fest. They're very different than sessions that other high school teachers may find at, say, NCTM meetings, because this is all about the mathematics and how students interact with the mathematics at a different level than, say, at NCTM, where the focus is on educational methods and such. It was very beneficial, and I'm so happy that the SLIFE winners get a chance to go for free. I mean, that's amazing. That's wonderful.
Okay, I think I'm going to shift really quickly, Chuck, and see if I can share a video.
Sure.
So give me 1 second here. Sorry, guys, 1 more second. Just want to make sure that I'm set up properly for the video. And now let me share my screen again. And let's see. Can you see the video?
Yeah.
You can see it?
I can see it.
Okay.
I don't hear anything, though.
Sound isn't working. So you unplug your earbuds. It's going to your earbuds, but it's not going to us. So now try playing, right, and have it. We don't hear sound because your earbuds are plugged into your computer. We don't hear you now. So can you unplug your earbuds and then, okay? Yeah. Are they unplugged? Oh, you need to do something because the sound isn't playing for us. Okay. Well, anyway, we don't hear sound on the video. Okay. Now I'll get off. Somebody suggested that you exit and re-enter the session, and then your sound might work again. But now it doesn't. We're not hearing anything. Or you might refresh your refresh. Yeah. You know, hit the little circle button. I don't know.
Yeah. No, we can't. You're muted. It appears we can't hear you. Ah. Nicole, you're muted as well.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm sorry the audio wasn't on. The audio was a light music, so you didn't miss much with the audio, but I'm so sorry you couldn't hear it. It was just a light music in the background that actually lasted for about 5 seconds and repeated. But I did want to, hopefully you could visually see it and see the teachers and their faces and some of the quotes that they were able to share. So thank you, and thank you for suffering through that. I apologize you couldn't hear the light music. I could hear you, but I couldn't see the chat. So thank you all for that. But anyway, well, I'll stop there. And what we wanted to do in the rest of the time was just kind of have a light discussion. So hopefully this is an active group that will participate in the chat and hopefully participate in some of the questions that we pose. Feel free to take yourself on and off of mute or on and off of video. Chuck, do you have the questions? You want me to pull them up on the screen? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, pull them up, and that way everybody can kind of see them, and we can go from there.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. And I'm actually going to leave it in this mode. Forgive me for that, but this allows me to see the chat as well. So I'm sorry that it's in the kind of administrative PowerPoint mode, but I just want to be able to see the chat.
So we do want to open the floor up to anyone who wants to participate. I know I would like to learn some things about how these Life winners go about their daily, math contest regimen, so to speak, and how that informs their teaching and how their teaching informs what they do with their math contests. So these questions of engagement, I think, are really important. What techniques do you use to make math fun, particularly AMC questions? I know that in my experience, the first 10 or 11 are kind of fun, but then there's not that many that enjoy numbers 24, 25. So is there a way that we can bridge that gap and extend those to everyone and help everyone have fun with them?
Okay. Any thoughts there? Comments in the chat?
Alexandria says, apply math lessons and connect the problems to students' lives.
That's interesting. Alexandra, can you expand on that a little bit? I know we've played around with, we need questions about Google, or we need questions about electric cars, but it sounds like connecting them to their lives even in a different way. Feel free to turn yourself off of mute and share your screen, or if you could expand on that, any thoughts on the questions around students' lives, connecting the problems that way? I guess beyond the typical Jim has 4 oranges, Mike has 5 apples, but something a little deeper. Hi, Maria.
Hey, Maria.
Hi. Hi. I'm a new math department chair at my school. I work with an American school that is K-12 in Athens, Greece. Currently, I'm in New York, so I don't have that much time difference as my Greece colleagues are attending this conference. But I'm really excited about this opportunity that the MAA Fest gives to inspire K-12 teachers and schools to engage in AMC. And I really feel that you're giving me so many ideas on how to actually start. And one of my colleagues is here. So I just wanted to just say that it's very important to start thinking about this program and best practices to kind of connect and engage students. In my school, we are in Athens. We're an American school in Athens. We're an international school. And we have a large group of participants, K through 12, that are interested in math competitions. It's overwhelming how much interest there is from our school. So I was just hoping that this session will provide some more insight on how we can engage our whole community to support mathematics. So I'll leave it up to you for that. But I'm really excited, and it has been a great experience so far learning about the AMC. My school has done the AMC for a long time, 30 years now. And we had participants going all the way to AIME. So we would like to keep inspiring our students.
Great.
Wow.
Great. I'm going back to Alexandria, just kind of reflecting on her comments as well, as because I think it relates to inspiring students around posing questions and probability for sports. Has anyone else been able to either create problems or kind of use real life examples to where they've been able to support, kind of garner or support the interest in math, make it more relatable to students? Okay, looks like in constructing the contest, the editorial committee tries to be careful not to make them too close to students' lives for fear of creating anxiety. For example, we had a proposal where the context was COVID. Okay, that makes sense. But we changed it to something fanciful to avoid negative reaction. That actually makes sense, yeah. Fun size M&Ms or goldfish, that's fun. Yeah, hi, Sarah, please join us.
Hi. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I come from a school again that has a long tradition of participating in the AMC contest, and so the kids kind of already have a large peer group, which is helpful. So I was thinking, if you're trying to start a program in a new school, like we had a nearby school, and we kind of worked with them the first year to help get them started, and we had just like a little fun meet between the two schools, and so I guess getting kids that are already interested in it to kind of help spread the word, I think is helpful. And I try to get, I have some really competitive kids on my team, but I try to really not have them obsessing about their scores, but just kind of have them work on the problems in groups and just listen for ideas and just have kids share an idea. I don't say oh, you know how to get the answer. Tell us how to get the answer. Oh, what was your thinking on the question? So just try to ask questions that elicit thinking and not worry too much right away who solved it correctly. I actually felt like online teaching this year in some ways was good for that, when I had the kids on Zoom and they were all sending me private messages so only I could read them, and I could pick out kids, particularly kids that didn't normally speak up, that had an idea that was worth sharing and would probably never raise their hand with 30 other kids in the room to say something. Right. But so that's actually something I've been thinking about, is how to recapture that. And that, I think that addresses some of the other questions, the girl student issue and the stereotype of some of the more aggressive boys that tend to raise their hand and jump out of their seat. And, then the girls are kind of whoa, they're not going to do that. So, but kind of ways to get a window on what kids are thinking, and ask them. Because I found too, most people don't want to be called on when they have no idea. So if you can get kind of a preview of what the kids are thinking, and again, in the classroom, having them talk in groups is a great way to do that. And then just pick out some kids. hey, tell us your idea. What were you just saying to, Sam a minute ago? Tell that to everybody. So that's been helpful in class and in practices.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
That's fantastic.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned now that Zoom may be going away, or kind of back to the classroom experience, that there's a thought around students that can kind of private chat versus in a classroom raising their hand, and maybe might not feel as comfortable raising their hand in front of a group of 10 to 20 or 30, but do feel comfortable private chatting. Any thoughts there on how teachers are preparing to approach that, or any similar examples where that's happened in your classroom? I'll pose that question out there, and then we've got a couple of pieces in the chat. Chuck, I'll let you go ahead with the chat.
Yes. So there's this question about how you start a program from Alexandria, how you start a program that allows students to go to math competitions at schools that do not have math clubs. So going to math competitions is a little different than, participating in the AMC maybe, where you purchase the contest and it comes to you. Because I think that's a little different question, going somewhere, going to a math competition instead of having a contest that you do at school. Personally, and this is just me, I personally would start by not calling it a math club, because too many students feel like they've been beat over the head with math. So I kind of avoid the phrase math club. I call our things a math team, which is a different spin. We do a lot of things together as a group, and sometimes, obviously with the AMC, that's an individual thing, but with the AMCB, I actually allow students, and I don't send in their papers or anything, but I'll purchase a bundle or two of AMCBs, and the ones who want to do it by themselves or in a room by themselves, and then I have a group that just wants to work them all together. So I still have it do it in the same 75 minutes, and they all work together on the AMC. That's an interesting experience where you can take a thing designed for individuals and still make it fun for a team. And I think that's how also you lower the barrier for, as Sarah said, students who may not want to speak up. If they're in a group and working together, they're doing something different than just, learning something on their own.
That's great. I'm going to Nicole. Nicole, not to put you on the spot, but would you mind sharing about project-based learning, and just maybe give an example of how that worked in your classroom? I think that'd be great. I know Maria is definitely looking for some ideas and tips.
Sure. So I was teaching elementary at the time, but I think it works just as well for most grades. We would have one long-term project. For us, it was build your ideal zoo. So I think a lot of us have seen these before. And so as we started out, we started doing projects on, getting out the area, perimeter, and volume of the pens. We looked up the size of the animals, who can fit into which pen, how can we get it where, then we did some logic puzzles on which animals could be next to each other. And by the end of it, we built a 3D model. And so each week on Friday, we would take a lesson that would correspond to the work that we were doing that week. So again, like we did fractions, decimals, area, perimeter, proportions, and then we ended up in volume and surface area and worked through that over the course of the semester. So those type of multidimensional, not only one aspect of the curriculum had really worked well. And yeah, that was crucial for my classrooms.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. It looks like Natalia, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It's just I guess grappling with there's someone who has historically been in charge of competitions and you wanted to get your students involved. So any thoughts there? I have a couple of thoughts, but I'll see if there's anyone else in the group, or Chuck, if you want to respond to that. Or I can respond.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalia, what I'd offer is just do it. Just do it. I don't mean to get into the politics of your school, but if you would like to register for the AMC, if you'd like to try some of the test problems, if you'd like to join us for some of our free Empowered events, please feel free to do it. And again, not stepping on anyone's toes, but we're trying to get math out to as many students as possible. Celebrate the love of math and celebrate the joy of math. And I found that's one of the reasons I like my job, that the AMC does that. It does have really fun problems, analytical problems that are fun to think about. And even if the students just try 5, hopefully they walk away thinking, gosh, I have another idea for number 4. I think I want to go back and try that again. That's our goal. And so again, not to step on toes in your school, but there can be 2 competition managers in a school. There can be one can give it during the day. You can choose to get your students together in the afternoon, especially the AMC 8. And I don't know what grade level you're in. That's given over 5 days, 5 business days. So maybe you could trade off in a couple of days. And all I see is it being another opportunity for the students to try. So again, don't want to get into politics at your school, but I definitely welcome you to join us in our community as far as some of the resources we're offering and administering the AMC.
Yeah. I was just curious though, I wanted, I guess, to ask Natalia a question, because I suppose like I would be that person at my school that's basically in charge of all the math competitions. And I suppose if another teacher just started signing up for math competitions and never talked to me, I would kind of wonder, well, like, I wonder why they didn't come to me and say, hey, I want to work on this with you, or hey, like if it just kind of came out of the blue, I would be a little bit surprised. So I mean, I was curious, Natalia, like, does this seem like somebody who doesn't want to work with another teacher, or, yeah. If you've approached this teacher about, I mean, I would love it if somebody came to me and said, hey, I'd love to help organize some more competitions. I mean, I have managed at some years to recruit a second teacher, but a lot of years it's just me because everybody is doing, other clubs and things like that. So I was just curious about the dynamic.
I have to agree with you, Sarah. That is a really interesting. This is a really interesting problem. I'm the guy who does the contests at my school, and it's been by myself for 27 years. And finally, this year, I have another math teacher who's willing to help. Finally, it's like the opposite problem. I can't find other math teachers willing to do all this, but I finally have one. I can't imagine someone not being willing to work with another person to get more students involved.
Yeah, I think that's very valid, Sarah and Chuck. You're right. As far as just asking, as opposed to going rogue, definitely another another option. Okay, so Natalia's responding.
Oh, okay. It's more of an issue of scheduling and students being anxious of working with another teacher. I don't think.
I don't know. I guess I kind of feel like, I mean, that's for most clubs and teams, that's kind of the norm. If you join the knitting and crochet club, you're probably going to work with somebody that you don't know from the classroom. Most clubs and teams are probably run by a teacher that the kids wouldn't know already. And again, I would be shocked that another teacher would feel threatened. They'd probably be like, oh my God, somebody wants to take something off my plate and help with this and bring some other kids in. It would be a shocking reaction to me if they were like super territorial and been like, no, it's mine and it's all mine. I mean, it could happen, but it seems unlikely based on all the math coaches I know.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like she's also thinking through with the students. Are the students used to one routine and now there's a shift? Different teacher, different time, working with someone else. Any thoughts on that dynamic, or will the students just kind of fall into place with the teachers at some point? But any thoughts from a student perspective? I don't know if there's even any students here. How would they feel about that shift? Okay.
Well, speaking of students, Alexandria asked the question in the chat, is it easy to get students involved in the AMC if your school doesn't already have one? Well, there's one way to approach that, which is the way I approached it when I started teaching high school. The school didn't have one, and I was fortunate enough to have an administrator who believed in the validity of competition, academic competitions. And that first year, it was over 20 years ago, we bought one for everybody and made everybody in the school take it. So that was the buy-in. Everybody took it, and so everybody knew what it was. And we've scaled back a little since then, but that's one way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I feel like you'd probably want to start by getting copies of some old competitions and just having kids try them. I mean, no offense, but buying one for every kid in school, that's
Well, our school is small. We only had like 120 students.
We have 1,100 children, so
right.
you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for a huge high school. That's crazy. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's free ones, and I think definitely something with a team element is good to get kids started too, because it just promotes the social aspect. You know, we do one called Purple Comet that's been around quite a while, and that's online. But I mean, the kids do it at school, but they submit answers online and they can work in teams and collaborate. You know, the math counts, not to promote the other ones, but I'm just, you know, putting other ones out there. Math Counts has a math club that sends free resources. And again, that tends to be group oriented too. So I think, getting started, I would want to have the kids involved in something where they're working together.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes.
Yeah, I love Purple Comet. I know John Kane personally. He might even hop on at some point. I love Math Counts. I know Kristen personally. So definitely, I think as someone new in my role, having been here 3 years, I'm just all about the kids and about the love of math, and just share it and spread it, and whatever fits, whichever one you're more comfortable with. I think that's awesome. It looks like at our school, we found that when we are offered the AMC only to interested students, we have more participants. Okay, Maria, do you want to speak to that a little? I guess opposed to non-interested students, or?
Yes, of course. We are in the international school in Athens, so we have about 100 10th graders, 100 11th graders, and about 100 8th graders. We used to offer the AMC to all sections of students, and we saw that the students were forced to take the AMC, and there was not so much interest. So we actually made it selective. And once we made it selective, we had a boost of participation, because there is an interest of students in participating in honors classes and in participating in activities related with math. So when we target that population, we had more students. This year, that we didn't have so much time, and because of COVID, we were closed our school was closed during the AMC competition, so we didn't offer it this year. We have offered an international competition, the kangaroo competition, and we had over 150 participants interested in that, especially in elementary school. So what we would like to do is, in order to boost our middle school program for the AMC 8 and the math counts. We already have 50 students that are participating in that, grades 7 and 8. What we try to do is we try to boost the AMC by participating in elementary school competitions outside of the American mathematical competition. So I think it kind of blends with the previous session about the need for AMC 5. It would be great if we have something like that, because we have so many students interested into participating in the competition just for the fun of it. In elementary school, it's just, I love math. Of course, give me a problem, I'm gonna solve it. We kind of lose participation as we go into grades, and we see a spike in grades 11 and 12 just because of the application process. Students trying to build up their personal portfolio and so on. So what we are trying to do is convince them to go to AMC 8 and try to fill out the whole experience. So what we'll build up is a math fun kind of competition like environment in our school. So I feel that by restricting the competition, many students, especially those that are not good in math, feel intimidated when they are forced to take a math competition. So we don't want to do that for them. So what we have seen is that people tend to, when you give them the option to sign up for it, they tend to take the option instead of being forced to it. So we have more participations this way, more active participation, and more students being interested in that. So it's all good.
Oh, that's great. Great. Thank you for sharing that. I'll be honest, Maria, that's an interesting one for me. And I love that you shared that. I've kind of battled with the balance of allowing kids to try it and you might like it, forcing kids to take it, having students opt in. I think there's a kind of an equity piece that comes in around students that are, they're prone to play basketball and football and soccer, and they're like, I don't even want to try it. But if they were to try it, they might like it and find it that it's, like you said, oh, these problems are fun. I'm going to take it for the fun of it. How have you kind of taken that approach as far as kind of introducing younger students to math to see if they like it, or just simply allowing them to opt in?
Well, we like to ask students to opt in.
Okay.
So what we do is we do have these math clubs. We call it the Mathletes program. It's available for any student to sign in. It's a lunch activity. There's a teacher that is a math count specialist for also training for the AMC 8. So they come in at lunch and they try it and they like it, and then their peers like it, and then what we found this year that was so amazing, we had the whole 7th grade being so boosted up with problem solving and with competition math, and all the teachers of 7th grade in our middle school said that, oh my God, what happened? The students wanted to solve more problems. So we saw that this type of, problem solving, exposing them to something different, actually rubbed off in the math classroom. So everything became more interesting in the math classroom. We actually found that out also from our students that were with learning differences. And so we want to keep this up because it's an engagement that happens. So giving the students the option to just be part of the community, be part of the math program, be taking part in the competition, really rubs off into the classroom. and brings math to a highlight overall.
Okay.
And we want to keep doing that. So your input is very important.
I appreciate Vicky's comment in the chat about the growth mindset. It does play a huge role in getting students to participate. Yeah, it's a big thing that students always want to get everything right, and here they're in an environment where it's extremely difficult to get everything right, and it can make them feel dejected and not want to do it anymore. And to change that mindset, I think, is very important. I like that comment. Yes, that's very good.
Great. I'll go back to Natalia. Oh, I'm sorry, Chuck. Forgive me. Please continue.
No, I was just going to go back to Natalia as well. Her question about starting math research while at high school. That is actually something that one of the special interest groups of the MAA, for the Special Interest Group for Teachers of Advanced High School Mathematics, has tried to develop some resources. My feeling is, if you are a member of the MAA, you have access to MAA Connect. And if you ask that question on MAA Connect, specifically targeted to that Sigma, you will get plenty of responses in terms of what they've done and materials and so forth. There's I know there's a member of that Sigma. I wish I could recall his name at the moment, but he has actually started a math research journal at his high school to showcase the mathematics research his students have done. So ask that question there, and you will get some good response.
Great. I'm going back to the chat, and thank you all for participating in the discussion. I can also, I'll pass it on to Chuck if we want to read maybe another question out, or just see kind of, I like to end these sessions about 50 minutes into the hour just to give folks a chance to transition. But Chuck, if you think there's another question that we can pose to the group.
I'm always interested in the questions about concerning diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And I think, and just some background, my school is a specialized high school for science, math, and technology in a suburb of Atlanta. And when most people hear that, they have a vision of what our student body is. And they're kind of surprised when I say that our student body is 78% African American and 56% female. So these issues speak directly to my students, and I'm very interested in how other people get more girls involved, get more people of color involved. So if anyone has anything to share in that regard, I would be interested to hear that.
Yeah, I'll just read. Vicky says, thank you, Chuck. I'm very passionate about GM and teach it to my second graders daily. And it's really embedded in everything we do. My students, towards the end of their year, learn to love and embrace challenges, as they have learned that this is what makes their brains stretch and grow. They are very excited even to participate in a competition this year. Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Vicki. And as Chuck mentioned, DEI is definitely a relevant topic. Topic close to my heart as a African American woman that studied math in college, and then went on switched to business, and so had a little shift there. But any thoughts on? We see the data, we see the numbers, and there are some inequities in participation. Any thoughts on getting through the gender divide or getting through the ethnicity divide, or things you've been able to do to invite and be inclusive of other groups in your schools?
I was just gonna say for the gender divide, there's a number of competitions that have sprung up recently for girls in our area. We have the Into Girls competition, which then has, I think it's really grown a lot in the past couple of years. I know they have it in a bunch of different cities now and stuff like that. And so, I think that's a good one, and there's always some, smart boy every who's like, whoa, boy, why can't I participate? Why, but, I say when I look around the room and it's, 50-50 boys and girls, then we probably won't have an Into Girls anymore. But, they don't fuss about it for long. So, and I think, I do see a nice environment at those, like the Into Girls events, and they have, the professional women that are talking about their careers in STEM and things like that. So, and the European Girls, Math Olympiad, which I had honestly never heard of till I was at the awards ceremony the other night. Sounded like a cool competition. So, I guess I go back to I tell the kids too about, when I was on the math team back in high school at 1 year, it was 14 boys and me were on the team representing Montgomery County. I'm like, it's gotten better, but there's still a long way to go. And until it's balanced, then it's okay once in a while to have, I say there's 50 other competitions that all of you can do. But until we have a better balance, it's okay to have a few just for the gals.
I like Nicole's comment in the chat that she had to open exploratory sessions to any student to come and explore math, and then they transferred over to the math club. Wow. I'd like to know more. I'd like to know a little more about how that works.
Sure. So with my high schoolers, especially, some of the girls, I think they've already, or some of the underrepresented groups already got into the pattern of the student behavior, and they started to play into those roles. And so there was already this competitive math team in there who was actually doing the AMCs. And you could see that there was a gap. It's either you were a math person or you weren't. And so what I did is I had a lot of manipulatives in the room. I would have big poster board on the walls. No one was allowed to sit. You had to be working in your own space. We would play music. I would put shaving cream up on the whiteboard and have problems around, and they would either write on the walls, they would write their answers in the shaving cream. I would spend one-on-one time with each one of them, kind of doing it around the world with them. And then eventually the ones who started to catch on a little bit more would start to mentor the ones who are now coming in, and now we're building confidence. Now we're at the point that after we're building confidence, then I'm talking to the other teacher running the math club and bringing those students in a nice transition. But they needed that moment to feel safe, feel special, that nothing is going to be attacking them or harming them. They can make the mistake and I'm right there with them because it's empowering. And they're not feeling deflated. And so that definitely helped. And it was something concrete that I was able to do for a couple of times after school.
Wow. That's incredible. I love that. That's so nice. Wow.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I
Please.
just had a thought too. I was going to say, well, that actually kind of made me think back to Natalia's question a little while ago, if this is something that she was truly interested in, so that the other teachers' toes wouldn't feel stepped on if that's an issue, she could offer maybe to create something like that. I mean, honestly, again, if somebody else came to me and said, I'd like to start a problem solving club, that, you know, doesn't worry about the contest. But like I said, you know, they could join the Math Counts Club, use the free resources, not worry so much about the scores, you know, that would be fabulous. I would fall down on my knees and, you know, kiss them. And I think that would be a great way to get more kids involved. Because I mean, I know that if a kid walks into my practice and they don't have experience, it is intimidating. And there's not a lot I can do about that because I have kids that have been working at it for years and they practice on their own. So I can't make them not intimidating to somebody who is brand new. That's why I actually split my group. I now practice 2 days a week. I have a junior varsity and I have a varsity squad. But, you know, sometimes I wish I could go further. I wish I could have like an absolute beginner squad, a junior varsity, a varsity, but I can't stretch myself that thin. But I think that's a fabulous thing if you can have, an introductory group that's just more about the fun and the learning the strategies, and then kind of graduate, maybe do a more competitive aspect after you have a year or two of experience, is really helpful.
That could absolutely solve Natalia's issue. Be the person who is the non-intimidating person and gets them primed and ready. And then they're ready to work with somebody different, maybe. Wow. It is a little bit after 4:50, right, Jennifer?
I so am so thankful for the discussion, and the intent isn't to cut it off early by any means. I've just seen in other sessions other people start entering when it gets to be 5 minutes to the hour, because somehow I think the same links are repurposed. But I hope that this discussion was fruitful and enjoyed. You know, it's the first year that K-12 programming has been included at Math Fest, and I tried to think of a few things that I would enjoy. So you guys are basically, discussions like this are things I enjoy, and I love hearing from other teachers and educators. And I reached out to Chuck with his expertise and was hoping he would join me in this endeavor. What did you guys think? Sarah, you're officially one of our panelists. So what did you think? Would you do this again, or how did it go?
Sure. No, I think it went well. Yeah. I just I would have liked to hear from some more of this year's crew, the slides popping through, and so but I don't know. I think it was helpful and interesting.
Yeah, I think, Chuck, next time we'll have some designated panelists. So we'll have maybe 5 to 10 people that are here that could and we'll pose the questions to them. I thought about that idea, but I also didn't want to be talked at. This distinguished level of folks talk at you, but but definitely, I'm with you on that. That's a great idea. Chuck, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. To invite some people and have a panel that they would spend half the time talking at us, but then we could get to pepper them with all kinds of questions. I think that would be great.
Okay. Well, Chuck, I'll let you close out. I don't know if there's any other questions. I would love some more AMC sessions. They rock. Oh, thanks, Maria. That's very kind. There are, as Nicole mentioned, there's 2 tomorrow. And so definitely check the schedule. We'll have James Tanton. Actually, and James Tanton is doing a teacher-professor-oriented session tomorrow. And then there's a student-facing session in the afternoon. So definitely hope you join us for that. And Chuck, forgive me for talking so much, but I was so passionate about this discussion. But I will let you close out.
Thank you all for being here and for being part of this. This is wonderful. And like I said, being chair of this committee is fabulous. You get to read all kinds of wonderful things. Please check out James Tanton's sessions. He's actually one of the members of the SLIFE committee, so he reads all these wonderful things as well. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us. It's been a privilege, been an honor to be chair of this committee and to meet some of you over the years, some of the winners. So thank you very much.